He was just 15 when the killing began. By 17, he wasn't just watching, he was participating. Elmer Wayne Henley helped lure 28 boys to their deaths. Then he turned the gun on the man who taught him how. This is the story of a teenager caught in the orbit of a sadistic killer. A story of complicity, survival, and the blurred line between victim and perpetrator. So stay with us, because what starts as a tale of manipulation becomes a chilling portrait of choice, consequence, and the cost of silence. If you're drawn to the shadows of history, the minds behind the crimes, and the stories that still haunt us, like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Candyman's Apprentice. Dean Corll, the Candyman, Dean. Arnold Corll was the kind of man who blended in. Soft-spoken. Clean-cut. He ran a small candy business with his mother in Houston, Texas, Corll Candy Company. He handed out sweets to neighborhood kids, earning the nickname, the Candyman. To parents, he was generous. To kids, he was cool. But behind that smile was a predator. Corll's home became a trap. He installed a soundproof room, built a torture board, just a sheet of plywood with handcuffs and nylon ropes. He stockpiled plastic sheeting, lime, and tools for disposal. He had a van with no windows. And he had a plan. Between 1970 and 1973, Corll abducted and murdered at least 28 boys. Most were between 13 and 17. They weren't runaways. They were students. Sons. Friends. And they were lured by people they trusted. Corll's method was systematic. He drugged them with barbiturates, tied them to the board, tortured them for hours, sometimes days. Then he killed them. Some were shot. Some were strangled. Some were never found. The recruits, Brooks and Henley Corll, didn't act alone. He needed help, and he knew how to find it. David Owen Brooks was the first. Brooks met Corll when he was just 12. Corll groomed him, gave him gifts, money, even a car. By 15, Brooks was helping lure victims. He knew what was happening. But he kept bringing boys in. Then came Elmer Wayne Henley. Henley was 14 when Corll approached him. Corll offered him $200 for every boy he delivered. Henley said no. He even told his mother about Corll. But nothing happened. Eventually, Henley said yes. He started recruiting boys, friends, classmates, even neighbors. He watched them walk into Corll's house. Watched them get tied down. Watched them scream. Henley later claimed he thought Corll was part of a sex trafficking ring. That the boys were being sold, not killed. But he saw the bodies. He helped bury them. He knew. He wasn't just a witness. He was an accomplice. And eventually, a killer. The turning point, August 8th, 1973. On August 8th, 1973, everything changed. Henley brought two teenagers to Corll's house, Timothy Curley and Rhonda Williams. Rhonda was a friend, someone Henley had known for years. Corll was furious. He didn't want girls. He tied all three up and threatened to kill them. Henley begged for their lives. Corll relented, untied Henley and handed him a pistol. Told him to prove his loyalty. Henley stood there, gun in hand. Then he turned it on Corll. He fired once. Then again. 6 shots in total. Corll collapsed and died on the floor. Henley called the police. "I killed him," he said. "He was gonna kill us all." When officers arrived, they found the torture board, the plastic sheets, the handcuffs, and the bodies. The aftermath, confession and discovery. Henley confessed everything. He led police to burial sites across Houston. Bodies were found in boathouses, shallow graves, and under lime. Some were so decomposed they were never identified. Others were buried in groups, 2, 3, even 4 at a time. The city was stunned. Parents who thought their sons had run away learned they'd been murdered. By a man they trusted. And by boys their sons had called friends. Henley was charged with 6 murders. Brooks with 1. Both were sentenced to life in prison. The trial was brutal. Photos of the torture board. Testimonies from grieving families. Henley showed little emotion. Brooks barely spoke. To this day, the case remains one of the most disturbing serial murder investigations in U.S. history. Henley's perspective, victim or killer? Henley has always claimed he was manipulated, that Corll brainwashed him, that he feared for his life. "I thought I was doing something good," he said. "I didn't know it was murder." But the facts tell a different story. Henley recruited boys, held them down, watched them die. Psychologists call it coercive complicity, a mix of fear, dependence, and moral collapse. But others call it evil. Henley's paintings, created in prison, are haunting. Faceless figures, boys in cages, eyes scratched out. They're studied by criminologists, used in lectures on serial killers and psychological trauma. Henley says he paints to cope, to process what he did, to remember the faces of the boys he betrayed. But critics say it's performative, that he's rewriting his own narrative, trying to be the victim instead of the villain. Legacy: the Candyman's apprentice, Dean Corll, is dead. But Elmer Wayne Henley lives. He's now in his 60s, still incarcerated, still painting, still talking. His story raises questions. Can a child be both victim and killer? How far does manipulation go? And what happens when evil wears a friendly face? The Candyman gave out sweets, but he took lives. And his apprentice helped him. Until he didn't. Because beneath the narrative lies the motive.